Most people enjoy a good horror film. Whether the genre is slasher or a classic jump scare, people take solace in the fact that these films are fictional and they're safe within the confines of their own home. These 5 films are based on scary people who have committed horrible crimes. Watch these films at your own discretion and try not to have nightmares. Number 5. Zodiac follows Robert Graysmith, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and Paul Avery, who's played by Robert Downey Jr., along with other detectives on their manhunt to find the infamous Zodiac killer. The film follows California police as they desperately try to piece together the puzzle that is the Zodiac case, which as of 2020 remains unsolved. It remains one of, if not the most infamous unsolved true crime case of our time. The Zodiac sent numerous ciphered letters along with pieces of evidence to the police, taunting them for not being able to catch him. While some of the letters have been deciphered, the Zodiac 340 cipher sent to the San Francisco Chronicle remains a mystery. In other letters, the Zodiac alluded that if this 340 code could be cracked, it would lead to his true identity. The Zodiac, whoever he may be, is responsible for taking the lives of 5 young couples in the 1960s and 70s. Witnesses described the Zodiac as wearing all black with a bag over his head to hide his identity. On his chest was a circle with a cross through it that became synonymous with the Zodiac killer after it appeared in his letters. In one letter, he even wrote that he was angry that people in California weren't wearing Zodiac pin badges. If the public refused to wear them, he would claim another victim. Perhaps the most chilling piece of evidence we have for the Zodiac case, that's highlighted in this film, is an alleged call that the Zodiac killer made to Melvin Belli on October 22, 1969. A man by the name of Sam called into the show and alleged that he was the infamous killer. He explains that he wishes to meet with Belli later that day, but Sam never showed up to the meeting. During the call, he explains how he's suffering from horrible headaches and that he wants to stop killing, but doesn't want to be hurt by the police or anyone else in the process. The Zodiac film follows the police department as their lives become intertwined with the Zodiac case. Many officers became so obsessed with the case that their marriages and family lives broke down because they devoted so much time to it. As of 2020, the case is still unsolved, but there are a few suspects. If you haven't seen the film Zodiac, I'd recommend you check it out if you want further insight into the police's battle to catch the killer. Number 4. The 1976 film called The Town That Dreaded Sundown follows the story of the Texarkana Moonlight Murders that happened between February and May of 1946. We wanted to talk about this film after the Zodiac, as there's a conspiracy out there that claims the Zodiac and the Phantom Killer were the same person. People draw parallels as both killers would attack young couples who were parked in their cars at lovers' lanes. Both of the killers were also described as wearing a sack with the eye holes cut out. Many have speculated that these killers are in fact the same person, and that the Zodiac killings were an escalation, as he was 20 years younger during these killings. He would have learned valuable lessons from his spate of murders in Texarkana. The 1976 film follows the events of the Texarkana Moonlight Murders as they happen. While the film opens with the line, "The incredible story you're about to see is true," where it happened and how it happened, only the names have been changed. The film did receive backlash from the victims' families for taking an artistic license with the depictions of their loved ones. For those who are unfamiliar with the Texarkana Moonlight Murders, the film provides a good insight into the setting of the crimes and how it affected the remote communities in Texarkana. Much like the real case, the film ends on a cliffhanger, fast-forwarding to the year 1976. A man is seen standing in line to watch the premiere of The Town That Dreaded Sundown, wearing the shoes that the Phantom Killer was known to wear. After 74 years, the case of the Texarkana Moonlight Murders remains unsolved, with the perpetrator likely having passed away himself. Unless there's new evidence or advancements in DNA or forensic technology, it's likely we'll never know his true identity. Number 3. Charlize Theron's portrayal of a serial killer, Aileen Wuornos, in the 2003 film Monster, is one of her best performances to date, and in our personal opinions, it's one of the best portrayals of a killer on the big screen. The 2003 film follows the life of Aileen as she desperately tries to find her place in the world. Her childhood wasn't an easy one, and Aileen was searching for the companionship of someone to love, but trying to put a troubled past behind her, and it proves difficult. The film follows Aileen as she meets her longtime partner, Selby, who is a character inspired by Aileen's real partner, Tyra Moore, and makes ends meet by being a sex worker on Florida's Daytona Beach. Rooted in fact, it depicts Aileen's serial killing career as she lures clients out to a secluded area before shooting them and taking their money and personal belongings. Aileen was desperate to make money to support her and Selby, as Selby was the first person in her life that had shown her love and compassion. Aileen claims that she acted in self-defense after the man had tried to attack her, but later confesses after she's arrested for her crimes. As the name of the film suggests, Aileen was a monster, but her story is one filled with sadness and pain. A film review written in The Guardian says, "In this desperate life, Aileen and Selby's affair is all the more pitiable and even tragic given that poor Aileen, whose dozens of killings can't efface the stain of her victimhood, is doing it all for her lover." Patty Jenkins' movie has a tough, illusionless clarity coupled with a gripping sense of drama. Charlize Theron won an Oscar for her performance as Aileen in the 2003 film, and for good reason. Her portrayal of the serial killer is second to none. The film also brings to the forefront questions about victimhood and how female serial killers differ from their male counterparts. Male killers often kill for the sexual thrill, while Aileen killed for the money and, in her words, self-defense. Aileen Wuornos was sentenced to death, and on October 9, 2002, she died by lethal injection. Even after a stay of execution was temporarily given due to there being questions surrounding her mental capacity. Aileen's last words were, "I'd just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus, June 6th. Like the movie, big mothership and all, I'll be back." Number 2. Andrei Shikatio, also known as the Rostov Ripper, is one of the Soviet Union's worst serial killers. Between 1978 and 1990, he was responsible for taking the lives of at least 50 people, although his victim count could be much higher. Shikatio was known as a non-secretor, a condition where blood group antigens are not present in saliva or sperm samples. When sperm and other samples were collected from crime scenes, Andrei was questioned, but as his blood type didn't match those of the samples, he was let go. He was born in the Ukraine in 1936 and lived through a bleak period in Ukrainian history that saw the Ukrainian people starve as their farms were collectivized and all their crops were sent straight to Moscow. Instead of being given a wage, they were allowed to cultivate a small piece of land. However, without having money to purchase seeds and other items, many people had to survive by eating grass or whatever else they could find. Shikatio's childhood was tough to say the least, and as he grew older, this began to show. Despite the fact that the Soviet system was the reason he grew up poor and hungry, he idolized Stalin and always strived to be the perfect Soviet man. His childhood was so bad that he claims to have not tried bread until he was 12 years old. His manhunt is shown throughout the 1995 film Citizen X. The film follows Soviet detectives as they desperately try to catch the elusive Ripper and put a stop to his killing. Meanwhile, the detectives must navigate the tricky Soviet bureaucratic system and squash any rumors that they have a serial killer on the loose. Part of the reason why Shikatio was able to get away with it for so long was that the Soviet authorities didn't believe a serial killer would be active in the USSR. Admitting the presence of such a person would bring them shame on the international stage, as they saw the notion of serial killers as a Western American issue. Citizen X is available to watch on YouTube, and we definitely recommend you check it out. With the fall of the Soviet Union happening just 1 year after his arrest, his case paved the way for how ex-Soviet countries treated crimes such as these. Number 1. Badlands is based on the story of teenage lovebirds turned spree killers, Charles Starkweather and Carol Ann Fugate. The pair were 18 and 13 respectively when they killed Carol's family and started a crime spree across the state of Nebraska into Wyoming. The pair had killed Carol's family as they didn't approve of their relationship, and Carol claimed that her stepdad had been treating her badly. Over the course of the beginning months in 1958, the pair fled in Charles's car and killed 6 more people on their road trip before finally being caught. The film, while not directly about the crimes of Fugate and Starkweather, draws heavy inspiration from the pair as is reflected in the film's plot. While the character names are different, the basis of the story remains the same. In Badlands, a teenage girl falls in love with a boy and her father does not approve of the relationship, so the couple does the only thing that's logical in their minds and kills her father. Much like the story of Fugate and Starkweather, the couple in Badlands go on a crime spree across the state of Montana before they're captured by police. For their crimes, Charles was convicted and sentenced to death by electric chair, which was carried out in 1959. Due to Carol's age, she was spared the death penalty and instead given life imprisonment. Throughout her trial and during her time in prison, she maintained that she'd been held captive by Charles and was forced to partake in the crimes. She was paroled in 1976 but was never formally pardoned for her crimes.